My name is Dean Hansen. I'm a co-founder of Doghead, and I was recently involved in the release of Doghead merchandise, including the advertising, production, etc. Making the merch was kind of our way to dip our toes into the art of making, distributing, selling clothes, something that I know we as co-founders of Doghead both want to do, whether under the branch of Doghead in the future or a separate company. So it was kind of a lot about getting experience, but also giving our friends and things like that something to rep and identify with, sort of, so you have like a physical sign of Doghead as a brand. So I would say the first conception point or thing that kind of cascaded the idea of the merch was, I believe it was 2024, my birthday, when Nana went to Thailand and he made a series of Doghead hats, kind of off the first version of the brand. And, I was very appreciative of the gift. And every once in a while I would wear it to school, express kind of my pride in the up and coming nation. And there were these two girls in my video production class that they saw it and they thought, like, what is that brand? Like, what is it? And they kind of known I was into film, and I just kind of explained to them, like, it's Doghead, it's the company, it's the movement, all this. And they're like, wow, that's so cool. You guys should make clothes. And I told Nana this and kind of let the idea sit. We were obviously doing other things at the time, but there came a point later on where we were coming on a period of free time, and Nana proposed the idea that we actually take them up on it and make clothes. And of course, I was open to trying anything, and I know it's been a long time a passion of his to kind of get into that space and to design and things like that.
But I mean, you had already kickstarted it with your hat, so I feel like the idea kind of came from that. And obviously, if you had a passion for making clothes in the beginning, it's such a great way to direct your brand towards that. You know what I mean? Well,
I would first say that the kind of part of the point is it doesn't perfectly fit into a genre, but if I were to kind of categorize it, it combines sort of urban streetwear, more of a rugged aesthetic, with a refined sophistication that comes with the finer side of life, like philosophy or spirituality, things like that. So it's kind of a blend and merger between those two things.
I mean, I think of Doghead as a growing production company. I mean, I know you guys, so maybe I know too much, or maybe I don't know, because I know that you guys have your own creative ideas and desires and passions, but I think of hard work. I think of everything, the thought, the creative process that you guys have invested in everything. And I'm not a man who likes to wear clothing that represents labels and stuff like that. I don't wear Nike and Adidas stuff, and but I'd be willing to sport some Doghead. So, because I believe in you guys, and I think that your mission, the first meeting we had a couple of years ago in the coffee shop, just hearing your passion about what you want to do with this and your ideas, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are serious. You guys are so serious and passionate about this, and that is so cool to see. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what Doghead means to me. Is a couple guys who I support who are entrepreneurs and really talented artists. Very skilled.
Yes, sir.
That's what I think of. Yeah.
Doghead is not as literal as some people will try to make it. It's more so representative and kind of connotating towards a movement, almost a nation in a sense, not a state that has borders or anything like that, but a nation, a united collective of people. Doghead's mission is to spread love in the purest form and allow others to spread that love through whatever they choose to create or say or things like that. But it's to make loving less restrictive.
And at least in its fruition, it was more so just an establishment of who we are creatively and who we are artistically. So it's kind of just a label for Dean and Nana Creations. But then as we kind of grew with it, we started to kind of grow into our own individual characters. And man, I think honestly, Dean and I just became a lot more philosophical than I was expecting when I was growing up. We kind of got very whimsical and into art and kind of just the overall rhetorics of life and Christianity. Of course, we grew deeply with God, doing Bible studies and just truly trying to understand everything around us. And from that, we formed these really, I wouldn't say strong, but I'd say foundational understandings. And a lot of that is what Doghead represents, which I think the purpose of is spreading this love, this like God's love through our art, which I think we have found to be one of the most powerful ways to spread said love. I think a painting can tell a lot stronger words than a politician in certain scenarios. And I think that's a lot of what our goal is. It's to spread God's word through a medium that people can comprehend on a deeper, more empathetic level.
I think it's really important, right, that you can feel that sense of, like, it kind of goes with, not to sound cheesy, but like our school's mission, right, of feeling like you belong. When you feel that you belong to a community and that you're loved by the community, then you're more likely to want to participate in it and your confidence grows, right? And if you feel any sense of shame or that you're not accepted or that there isn't love, then it can take you in the other direction, right? So I think that feeling loved by those around you can help lead you to kind of pursue your goals or trust that you can love something and put energy and effort into pursuing something, right? Yeah, I think it's all connected. Whether you see potential in yourself or you don't see potential in yourself stems from building that confidence and having a community that does love you.
That's the thing. The collective wants to accomplish whatever it wants to accomplish. The idea is that all of its individual members have been in some way prevented from doing what they want or feel restricted in doing so, particularly in a creative, metaphorical environment. So in that way, the company wants to give people the means, the language, and the voice through which they can speak their messages, promote their art, or just express themselves, put themselves out there in a sense.
Personally, to me, that means a lot, especially as someone who struggled with the whole concept of being your own, you know, like in a place where everyone is basically just a clone of each other. It's really hard to step out of that box to follow your own dreams. And I personally struggled with that myself. I struggled with trying to be my own person. And I think the fact that you're making that the whole, I guess, motto of your brand, that's gonna mean a lot to others, especially people during their adolescence phase, because that's when we're all struggling to be our own person. So that means a lot.
I was interviewing my friend Dean about the company. He described it as less of a company and more of a nation. He was saying that every person that is a fan of our company, or he didn't even describe them as fans, he more so believes that like everyone is kind of open to join Doghead. It's more of a movement than it is a conglomerate. And I wanted to ask, like, what do you think about that? Because I know you're talking about how, you know, a community is really important. Like, a community is really fostering a person to do that. At the end of what you're saying, you're talking about potential. And, like, even if they can't realize that they have that potential. So I wanted to ask, what do you think, just what do you think about his description of that, being in which we are a nation altogether, and the people that are fans of our work can go make their own work in which we support. And in a way, we kind of build this ecosystem of support.
Yeah, I think anytime that we see that a space exists that is inviting us in, or that is saying that we can automatically sort of gain acceptance, creates that psychological safety, right? So then you can join. So if you feel that it's a nation or you feel that it's a movement and you're being welcomed with open arms, it's going to set the stage for you to want to be more creative and take risks and make mistakes, knowing that you will still be accepted, right? I think naturally humans want to be part of a community, want to feel acceptance from those around them. Yeah, I think that's a natural human need and a human want. And so when you design a brand around the idea of a nation or a community or even like a school, when you call it like a family as opposed to just like an educational institution, it creates that psychological safety, which then leads to actual community and actual safety, right?
Well, first of all, Dean and Anna were great. A lot of more direct conversations I had with them about my script or what I was meant to do, so it didn't feel like I had to go through someone to do it.
I would say it denotes to the collaborative energy, not so much like the genuine dogheadness, but just the overall hierarchy of collaboration and brotherhood, you know, just having people have your backs more so.
If you could describe the Doghead energy in like one word, just off the top of the head, what would you describe it?
True.
I knew from the beginning, no matter the results, it would always be a very valuable experience, and I still take it as such. We learned so much that we can apply to future, and it was also just reassuring to see like how well we could work together on something that's more commercialized, less of like a creative film, but something that's almost, we're selling a product and we can still apply ourselves, kind of.
My name is Santiago Peroso, and I'm an intern at Doghead. This isn't just kids, you know, like trying to do a cool movie or something. This is some teenagers that soon will go to college trying to build something now before then. And kind of understanding first that is the idea and then working off of it allowed some of us to gain a different level of professionalism to enhance our acting or how we talked about in the script or how we acted in the actual shots.
If you were to wear a piece of Doghead clothing or like anything about like the merch, I think it's kind of like a symbol as to like, you know, create, inspire, be passionate, like try new things, do different things, like don't be scared of what people think. And I know like that's like what you guys like you are going for. Like your videos are always about that. Like they're very like directed towards certain audiences, but they inspire every single audience that you put it out towards. So I think that's what the merch means to me. Hi, my name is Anya, and my relation to Doghead is that I modeled for the brand.
There's something about video that can be universal. And the stories that you guys have told, they definitely are relatable to anyone and everyone.
Favorite part was the photo shoot. There was a lot of very good photos we took. I think also the one photo we took on the rooftop, that one was really cool. And I think I liked that more than the actual videos because you can work way more with the photos as to what you want to express. Since they're still shots and they're not actual video shots.
I've been thinking like that the merch is kind of like, you know, we talked about it being a flag. And now I've been talking a lot about this idea of Doghead being a nation, like a people. And that flag is represented through the logo. And I think like people just don't get it. When it says, I love Doghead, they just think, oh, I like Dean, I like Nana, I like this stuff, it's cool. And I think a large part of the marketing and the ad was we really want to convey this deeper meaning behind Doghead and the merch. And I don't think we failed at doing that, really. Like, if I were to watch it back, I can really see how you can tell there's more to it. But I just genuinely think it's not something that runs through the minds of people our age. And that's why they didn't really care. So after the tedious work of planning, making the design, refining the design, interacting with the manufacturer, negotiating sales, constructing the samples, writing, shooting, storyboarding, a whole advertisement, editing it, launching it on social media, we sold practically nothing.
What do you mean by practically nothing?
The only people who bought the clothes were mine and Nana's parents.
How did that make you feel?
First, it was kind of confusion because there's this natural side that thinks like, if I put in this much effort into something and this much thought and prayers and heart, it will just work, right? And it just kind of didn't. And I was thinking like, why? Because it wasn't a thing where people were like saying, oh, I don't like it, let me not buy it, the design's bad. Everyone said, yeah, I like it, I'm gonna order, bro, I'm gonna order. And then there was just nothing, and I was just confused at the start. But I think following that, we of course developed into this whole regional conflict. So my mind was kind of off it for a while, and I did kind of just put it in the back of my mind because I would have rather focused on other things and just ponder like why did no one like it.
You know, it was wild, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild. We actually got out the first day. The second day we were out, it was hitting way too close to home. Literally, like, is wild.
My
And the
fellow
other side of the island,
Americans,
you could
good
hear it
evening.
and feel it, but it wasn't. It was like, oh, we actually slept a little bit, and that first 24 hours was just freaking brutal.
It depends. Of course, you should try and combat the bad things that are happening in the world, obviously, but to an extent, it is necessary to understand that, to have a contrast to what good is, because, you know, you don't know what feels good if you don't know what has hurt you. You can't understand happiness to its full extent if you haven't felt pain.
So I think that while we were making the merch, we faced a lot of challenges, but I do think to an extent that it was necessary. You know, it really does come down to life being what you make it. Everything is in your own perspective, and that means that when we face these challenges like an evacuation or like safety risks, or even, you know, I also moved schools during all of that, it really is just going to come down to how we react to it, because we really have two options when you face a tribulation like this. You can either take it as a growth opportunity or let it crush you. And I think we for sure took it as a growth opportunity. You know, moving schools was very difficult for me. I think like I handled it pretty well, but in general, it's quite a difficult thing to do, especially my senior year.
I think for the most part, a lot of people didn't take it seriously because we're in high school. A lot of people, it's not that they don't care necessarily, but they don't understand the level or the idea that this can reach. And also, not everyone's in a situation where they can just kind of pay for this stuff. A lot of people are in some very important decisions where it's like, where are they going for uni? What are they doing with their life? So it's harder for them to spend time on this.
I believe rebellion isn't breaking something, but building something differently. I believe rebellion to be refusing to stay at the bottom of your ladder. I believe rebellion is to stand against the stagnant systems of our world, to make changes in your community, to chase after your gold. So I exhort you all to take a step up your ladder and help others take a step up theirs. Thank you.
I think my main advice to you guys would just be to keep creating content while you can, while you're still just fresh and young and enthusiastic and passionate. It's not going to get easier, but it will get better. The more you crank work out, the more you interact with people, the more you collaborate with people, the more you test your work out on certain audiences, the better your craft is going to, better you're going to be at your craft. And that'd be my main advice. I think looking back at my life as I've tried different things and dabbled in different things, whether it be music or video, life throws interruptions at you. And here we are again in another one, you know, coming from an evacuation in the Middle East. Life throws interruptions. There are always speed bumps and forks in the road where you get deviated, having kids, getting a job, changing this, for me, I've had many things that have sort of, you know, distracted me from keeping my eye on the ball. Now, I'm a teacher. That's always been my passion. Whatever the subject I teach is different. But for you guys just to keep honing this craft and getting better and better at what you're doing. And for other people out there, just to keep going and make it your own. And you guys have done that. And I wish you guys all the best. This is going to be really cool.
Thank you, sir.
To see what you guys continue to create. And it's not like, I know, knowing you guys, I know it's going to be like, once you hit success, it's not like, okay, we've achieved it. You're always going to be striving for something different. And that's awesome.
Now, you might be wondering, or hoping rather, if it gets easier. It doesn't. Each time you step up the ladder, it gets harder to take the next step. Every time you step, there's a multitude of difficulties, but simultaneously, a multitude of opportunities.
And being able to have a way to show nuance and complex thoughts in a way that can be picked up visually and more easily than it would be to say them is important to me. I come from like a complex background, which isn't something a lot of people can relate to. Like, I used to live in Canada, and a lot of people I'd met had never left the country. A lot of people I'd met didn't know where Dubai was. So I think it's important to be able to influence others through different mediums. And, you know, the reason why I make art specifically is different than like the reason why I think art should be appreciated, because medicine, STEM, engineering, all those things are necessary to live life, but I think art is the reason why people live life, because when you're tired and when you've had a bad day from your long STEM job, you come back, you watch TV shows, you watch movies, and you listen to art.
So after all of that hard work with the merch, you know, the feeling of finally putting everything out there felt like such a sweet release, you know. It was like when you really badly have to pee and you can finally go pee. It felt very cathartic to kind of let it go and run free into the wild. And I think it was a moment of like triumph, and very quickly after, we kind of came to the realization nobody's gonna buy it. And it was kind of this like ultimate like satirical kick in the face by the universe, you know. But in reality, I think on the outside it might seem like that, but for us it really wasn't. I think it was such a moment of like victory in general. And even though like we technically weren't successful by any means, it still felt successful, you know. It felt like we had really reached this new playing field with what we were doing. Not even in the terms of like business making or professionalism, but also just in terms of art and like creative direction.
I can remember sitting in a coffee shop trying to make that first step. I made a business card. It was a small thing, but to me, it was the biggest deal in the world. I can remember sitting there asking myself a million questions. Where am I going to get it designed? Where am I going to get it printed? Can I handle running this business with school at the same time? As time passed, my initial questions grew to be more dubious. I wondered if there were legalities I couldn't get around. But I tell you, I persevered through my doubts. By brainstorming and finding clever ways around roadblocks, I made the card. And I began to do things with this card. I made events. I made short films. I participated in film festivals. I made collaboration with my school.
In general now, after a lot of reflection, I've kind of thought about it and also like what the clothes meant. And to me, I think I now feel a sense of clarity, and there's no disappointment really in me.
I think love definitely has its place with art, and a lot of art is tied to love, I think, because love is the love that we feel specifically is such a human-only emotion. Like, everybody feels hunger, animals feel hunger, but they can't really understand love to the extent that we do. And it's just something that I think has a place only in art.
My reason for that is because a lot of the time when we approach things with violence, it always leads to the same thing: separation, hatred, segregation, and so on. And we've seen this like happen over and over again throughout history. So I think if we maybe try to like switch things and approach like stuff with love, we can make a lot out of it if we just learn how to accept and see each other. The world will change big time.
Well, with the merch drop and all the lessons we've learned from it, I think we intend to apply that into whatever future projects we make. But going into university years now, I think the big priority is further broadening our horizons creatively, physically, all of these things, learning how to better express ourselves and refining our craft at our core, which would be filmmaking, and as well making new connections, bringing more people into the movement and kind of formulating this nation.
I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. I urge you to take a step. I urge you to chase after your goal. Stay hungry. I exhort you to rebel.
The best thing about all this is I did something. We did something. And whatever it is you want to do, you should just do it. And you shouldn't do it for the people who might buy it, the people who might look at it, the people who might adore it. You should do it just to do it. Because there's a calling in everyone's soul to get out there and do something. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe it's to go be a lawyer. Maybe it's to go be a businessman. For me, it's to be a filmmaker. You don't have to go out there and make a short film, but you should go out there and do whatever you want to do. And welcome when people don't accept it, when people go against it. Just make that fuel to work harder at. Because everyone can be Doghead without being a part of Doghead.
I want you, by show of hands, do you believe that one person in this room has the potential to change the world? Just raise your hand. Okay, keep them up. Now I want you to keep your hand up if you think it could be you. A lot of hands dropped.
So I wrote this poem. I feel God when I breathe. I feel God at the ends of my fingertips, on the lisp of my tongue, in the waves that might hit your retinas in bewilderment. You will be bedazzled by the crashing wave of hundreds of my men. They will conquer the ends of the world with guns and ammunition made of ink and pen. Utter audio-visual triumph. I beseech you to ignite oneself again and again, that bellows of sand do not reach your intrinsic flame, but instead you do it the world of Julien. You will the stars at your command. Divinity pleadeth to you as a lozenge, and it construes such flame into even brighter yellows and deep flares of orange. Let your love be the bullet that loads the barrel. Allons-y, mon ami. Jusqu'ici tout va bien, jusqu'ici tout va bien. You are not of this world, but a different thing entirely, a force to be reckoned with, that your love may bend the very atomic structure of any element, because when it is all said and spurned, there will be love, 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 and we will all say Amen, that you which are born in such a crown of thorn, to whom which it may concern, you are sun-kissed, my friend, truly built to burn.
Hit y'all with that line though.
Y'all buy the shit though. Doghead.shop.
Making bread, you know.
So like
www.doghead.shop.
www.doghead.shop.
So that's gonna be www.doghead.shop.
Y'all know Tomodachi Life? Let me tell you about this story.
Oh.
No.